I think I've unlocked the secret of turning one of the images you created into a fine art masterpiece. The best part of it is not even that difficult.
This is the image we'll be editing on the screen, right behind me there. So let's get editing and see how it turns out. Well, here we are in Adobe Camera Raw, and we're going to start turning this color image into black and white fine art. Now, what I've learned about turning a color image into black and white, you need to over exaggerate the vibrant and saturation in all the colors. The first thing I'm going to do is change the profile to Adobe Landscape, and this always increases the colors. Next, I go down to the calibration tab and increase the blue primary saturation. If you turn it all the way up 100 to 100, you can see how much it increases the colors, the hues, and everything. We're not going to go that far, we're just setting it down to around 50 or 45. Okay. Now we'll go back up to the basic panel. I'm going to reduce the highlights and see what happens. We get much more detail in the sky. And I'm going to increase slightly the shadows. Okay. I'm going to hold down the Alt key on the Windows until we see increase the whites until we see the overclipping, and go back down a bit. I'm going to do the same with the blacks. Hold the Alt key until you see black on the white screen and dial it down a bit more. Next, I'm going to increase the contrast, not too much, around there, and reduce. As you can see in the histogram, it's pushed all the way to the right. I'm going to reduce it so we get the histogram somewhat in the middle. Now you can see the overcolored image. It's oversaturated, everything. I'm gonna go down to the color and show you the vibrance and saturation. I don't touch them since we adjusted them in the calibration tab. Next, I go down to the effects, increase slightly the texture and a bit of clarity. Not too much, just reduce the texture a bit more. I tried the dehaze slider, increases it quite a lot, don't over exaggerate, and that should do it. Next, I go down to the detail. The sharpening is already on 40. I reduce the radius. I increase the detail to around 80. If you hold down the masking slider and press the Alt key, you will find that you're not increasing the sky and the sea, just the white parts, which are the buildings. And now, to turn it into black and white, I'm gonna open it up in Photoshop. Okay, now once we're in Photoshop, I'm gonna duplicate the background, so we have a copy. If we make any mistakes, we can go back to the beginning. And next I'm gonna turn it into black and white by going down to this circle here where it's half black and half white, and we'll be going to the black and white panel. There we have it already. It's already chosen the settings. I usually leave it like this. I'll show you what happens if we increase it. I think I'm going to increase it and see what happens. It's affecting the middle part mostly. I'm going to increase the yellows as well. My aim is to lighten the center part where your eye is attracted to the subject, which is the main center of the image. This fort is called Saint Stilmo or Elmo. I try the greens. The greens have nothing. I leave it where it was, around 42. Try the cyans. Make sure you check the number here. If it's 60 and you don't like it, go back to 60. I'll increase it. Not making any difference. Go back down to 60. And I'm going to try the blues. It's on 20. Now this is where it gets interesting. You don't want to go over, you don't want to overdo it. It's affecting the sky mostly. It was on 20. I'll go back to 20 and reduce it to around 10 or 12, something like that, 13. Gonna try the magenta. It's on 80 and you can see the difference. If you go down too far, you can see it gets this weird look. I'll go back up to 80. Not too far, I think I'll leave 80 where it is, the magenta. Okay, close the panel. Next I'm gonna go down to that tab again and I'm gonna use the gradient map. Now on your screen you will see it's gonna be dark, over contrasty. Click on this window here and turn it to classic. Okay, click on the gradient where it's from black going to white and you should get another panel here. Check if you like it, how it is. If not, you can always increase the whites or the blacks. I think I'll leave it how it is. Click OK. Close this panel. Okay, we're not finished yet. Now I'm going to flatten the image and take it back into Camera Raw. If you're using Lightroom, it's the same thing as Camera Raw. All the settings are the same and the sliders. I just find that Camera Raw is much easier. Okay, we're back in Adobe Camera Raw. Alright, I'm gonna reduce the size of the image a bit. And next we're gonna start, you can see the histogram is well spread out. It's not having any clippings on the blacks or the whites. we're going to start using the masking. First, what I do is do a linear gradient on the sky. Slide it down just up to the buildings and reduce slightly the exposure, not too much, around 95 or 100. Okay, I'm going to use another mask and another linear gradient on top of the other one we just done, but not going down too much, and reduce the exposure once again. Okay, next I'm going to use another linear gradient for the foreground. Take it up a bit, not too much, somewhere there, and reduce the exposure. This is the trick, this is the secret. You've got to get the viewer to draw its eye to the middle by darkening down the top and the bottom. I'm going to repeat, this is the secret I've been telling you about. You got to get the center part, the subject has to be brighter, where the viewer's eye will be drawn to the middle of the image, to the subject. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna use now a radial gradient, and here I'm gonna apply it just over the buildings, somewhat like that. I've got the feathering all the way up, and then I'm going to increase so I just until I don't get any clippings. I'll reduce it down a bit more, somewhere like that. Okay, next I'm gonna use another radial, put it exactly where the previous one was, and make it larger. Lift it up a bit, somewhat in the middle. I'm going to reverse the gradient, invert it rather, and here I'm doing a vignette. Now we're just doing the final touches of the image. I'm going to do another radial gradient and put it across the sky, somewhere there, and I'm going to reduce the highlights so we get more detail in the sky. I go out of the masking, check the image. Okay, now the final part is going back to Photoshop, and here we're going to use the curves adjustment tool. I go on the presets here, click the linear gradient, but I just want to increase the highlights a bit more. I'm gonna reduce blacks and slightly increase the highlights. And there we have it. Gonna flatten the image again. Take it back to camera raw. And there is our final image. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you learned a lot from this tutorial. Please leave any comments below. I hope you subscribe to my channel so you can watch future videos of mine. Thank you and thanks for watching. Bye, see you guys.